Today in History. Today it's May 16th and our journey to the past will continue.
That's right. We have a couple of events to share with our listeners today, 2 to be exact, and we'll get to it in just a moment. First, here is my quiz question. The words best, nominee, red carpet, and Oscar are all related to, number 1, the World Cup, or number 2, the Academy Awards. Again, the words best, nominee, red carpet, and Oscar are all related to, number 1, the World Cup, or number 2, the Academy Awards. If you know the answer right now, please put it on our Bundy board, or you can also text in on your cell phone, pounder sharp 1045 for 51 to win a smartphone case.
So in case you're wondering what have happened on this day in history, we're going to cover 2 items, and here's the list.
Today in history. In 1831, David Edward Hughes, inventor of the microphone, was born. And in 1929, the first Academy Awards took place.
Okay, so 1831년 5월 16일에는 마이크를 발명한 에드워드 휴즈가 출생한 날이기도 하고요. 또 1929년 5월 16일은 첫 아카데미 시상식이 개최된 날로 기억되고 있습니다. So today's journey to the past begins with the birth of a man who gave us the most important tool for us, really, in the studio to reach our audience every day.
That's right. He was David Edward Hughes, who was born on this day in 1831, and he gave us none other than the thing I'm speaking into right now, the microphone.
Right. 자, Hughes emigrated to the United States at the age of 7, and although he had little training in mathematics, he was an avid inventor and experimental physicist.
Among Hughes's many contributions, besides the microphone, there was the first radio communication system and the first teleprinter modem. In other words, he paved the road for the radio industry that we know today.
Well, now going back to the microphone, Hughes invented a carbon microphone that enabled proper voice transmission over long distances, like while he was in England. Meanwhile, in the United States, Thomas Edison also invented a similar device and received the patent before Hughes.
However, it was Hughes who could demonstrate his innovation in front of a crowd, which credits him, according to many historians, with the invention of the microphone.
하지만 이 마이크의 발명은 엄연히 그 휴즈의 작품이라고 되어 있는 거죠. And what's more, the word microphone was revived by Hughes too.
Oh, cool. So he invented it and he made the word for it.
Exactly. 자, thank you very much, Mr. Hughes. 네, 저희가 또 그 덕분에 이렇게 마이크에 대고 많은 여러분들과 함께하고 있잖아요. 자, 그런가 하면 there's another thing that happened on this day, that has happened on this day.
That's right. More important, I don't know about that, but equally interesting too, the invention of the microphone. Surely he's been making use of this since its inception. What are we talking about?
Well, that event is the one and only Academy Awards,
Right.
the biggest celebration in the movie world and which held its first ceremony on this very day in 1929.
Now, most people have a rough idea of what this ceremony is about, right? Every year, the top figures in the movie industry, mainly Hollywood, are awarded with the well-known Oscar statuette for their outstanding work in their respective categories.
Right. Okay, now the first Academy Award ceremony was nothing like we know it today, and it didn't take 3 hours like it does these days.
No, it didn't. It took only 15 minutes.
어머.
That's quite quick.
어머.
Welcome. Here you go. Bye.
자, 오늘날에는 아카데미 시상식 하면 뭐 3시간 이상 뭐 레드카펫 엔트리까지 합하면 더 오래 걸리잖아요. 예전에는 딱 15분 만에 다 끝났다고 하는군요.
Yeah, it was more of a dinner than anything else. And moreover, the winners were notified months prior to the event, so it wasn't even a surprise.
그러니까.
Yeah.
에이, 몇 달 전에 이미 다 수상자는 결정이 돼서 알려졌다고 하는군요. Well, the event wasn't broadcast neither by radio or TV back then, but it did have the staple red carpet carpet entrance ceremony as we know it today. When the stars arrived in their luxurious cars, fans were already waiting outside to check them out and comment on their attires. Who's the best dresser, worst dresser?
Yeah, exactly, right? And that still takes place today. Also, the first ceremony only featured 12 categories, and that's half of the number awarded today. Today they have 24, I think, or maybe even more than that.
I guess so.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Do you make a point of watching the Oscars every year?
I try to, but by the time that it's aired, we were usually stuck in the studio or doing something else.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever hosts the Oscars is always a big deal, isn't it?
Do you know who's going to be the host this year?
Well, next year, I'm not sure. Ellen DeGeneres hosted it this year, and people say that she did a great job. She brought her own spin to the style, I guess, of presenting. Before that, the year before, I think, was Seth MacFarlane, and that was quite controversial.
Right. He made some very surprising comments.
Yes, and some jokes that people didn't necessarily think were that funny. But everybody has their own style, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
그렇죠. 자, 아카데미 시상식하면 뭐 Oscar goes to 뭐 이런 말 항상 하게 되잖아요. 자, 수상자는 누구누구입니다라고 나오게 되고요.
That's right.
네.
All right, well, that's going to do it for today in history. Before we wrap it up, I'll give you the answer to the question I posed a few minutes ago. The words best, nominee, red carpet, and Oscar are all related to number 2, the Academy Awards. All right, well, when we come back from this break, it's Friday morning, it's travel time. Steve Miller will join us in the studio for Travel Notes. Here's Pierce Brosnan and Meryl Streep. This is from not the Bond movie, right?
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia, it's SOS.